Welcome to this week's edition of the Nebraska Prep Zone podcast. I'm Stu Pospisil alongside Mike Patterson, and week 9 of football, and we've got some playoffs going on already this week.
Yeah, it's winding down, as we said last week, Stu, and going to have some great matchups in the playoffs, getting a little ahead of ourselves as we finish up the regular season this week. But yeah, and the weather's going to be nice again on the weekend, so there's that after having 15 degrees the last couple of nights, so
yeah,
that'll be good too.
The 8-man teams on Thursday night, when they start their playoffs, they'll catch a break in the weather. Even next week, I was kind of taking a look 10 days down the road, and the first night of the 11-man playoffs, high is supposed to be 53, low 38. So, that's football weather. I mean, we're coming up on November. And we're usually in a press box, so.
Yeah, usually.
But, keep our fingers crossed.
I'm still thawing out from last year's Gretna Omaha North, possibly semifinal. Oh man, was it cold and windy that night. Wow. But hey, it's football weather.
Yes, certainly. And we've got a good look at the playoffs going. I did my breakdown earlier this week. Let's kind of run through it. We'll go Class A first. In District 1, we know the two teams coming out of there. Millard South is the district champion, and Lincoln East is the runner-up. Millard South won that game 22-21, if I remember right. In District 2, Gretna's the district champion. Bellevue West and Papillion La Vista South, which meet Friday, are in. The winner is the runner-up. The loser is going to be an at-large team, and Bellevue East, saying at 4-4, is still mathematically alive. So even if Bellevue East doesn't get in, Mike, 4 or 5 wins. They play Omaha South this week. A fifth win's possible. It's a good season for them.
Oh yeah, the Chieftains have had, as we both know, limited success in recent years. So if they can get into the playoffs, it's a positive for them.
Definitely. In District 3, Westside is the district champion by beating 0-8 Lincoln Northeast, and if Kearney beats Norfolk. Kearney is the district champion if it wins and Westside loses, Mike. North Platte is district champion if Westside and Kearney both lose. Westside and Kearney have clinched at-large berths. North Platte has not. And Norfolk, another team having a nicer season. The Panthers are 5-3, but they have to go to Kearney on Friday trying to pick up this win. Won't be easy out there, but a good season for the Panthers on a bounce back.
That's true. And, Kearney's really had an interesting season too. So, but as you mentioned, Westside really looms in that district.
Certainly. District 4, cut and dried. Creighton Prep is the district champion. Papillion La Vista is the runner-up. No at-large team possibilities coming out of there. District 5 is a little complicated. Elkhorn South is the district champion by beating Omaha North on Friday night. Or if North wins and Grand Island beats 0-8 Omaha Northwest. Omaha North is district champion if the Vikings upset Elkhorn South and Grand Island loses. Probably not likely to happen. Grand Island cannot be the district champion, but is the runner-up if Elkhorn South wins. Grand Island and Elkhorn South both have clinched at-large berths, Mike, but Omaha North has not. And there is a way that the Vikings at 6-3 with a loss this week could be held out of the playoffs, bumped out by wins with Norfolk and Millard North.
So interesting. Hard to think about the Vikings missing the playoffs, but I think that's where I'm going to be on Friday night, Omaha North and Elkhorn South.
Yes, you are. So
I'm looking forward. I haven't seen either one of those teams this season, so we'll see what they have in store.
Well, there's always the possibility of barbecue in the press box, too. So you always get the better assignments for food. I don't know how this works out when I'm making the assignments.
Props to the people at Elkhorn Stadium for taking care of the sports.
That would be Tom Ramsbottom, retired athletic director. So great hospitality always at Elkhorn Stadium. District 6, Millard West, district champion of 5-3. Lincoln Southwest is the runner-up, regardless of how it does against Millard North, unless Lincoln Southeast loses up at South Sioux City, which that game actually is being played in South Dakota because South Sioux Field won't be ready until next year. So we may have to wait a little while to get that result. the Southeast loss would make Miller North the runner-up if the Mustangs beat Southeast. And so Southeast and Miller North and Southwest are at-large possibilities. The way it looks, I don't think Omaha North and Miller North can both make it in. But there are ways that could happen. In Class B, district champions so far are Bennington, Waverly, and Scotts Bluff. The Omaha Gross winner on Friday is a district champion, and the Lincoln Pius Norris winner is a district champion. Also, with at-large berths clinched, the Scott Gross loser, the Pius Norris loser, Elkhorn, Blair, York, and Elkhorn North for the first time in its third year. At-large berths clinched with the win are the Seward Beatrice winner, Grand Island Northwest if it beats York, Elkhorn Mount Michael if it beats Bennington. Also in contention, the Seward Beatrice loser, the Ralston Plattsmouth winner, and Gering. Class C1, district champions Ashland Greenwood, Auburn, Pierce, and Broken Bow. Columbus Lakeview is a district champion if it beats city rival Columbus SCOTUS. Aurora is district champion by beating Central City. McCook is district champion by beating Chadron. Aurora, McCook, if they're not district champions, and Ashland Greenwood have clinched at-large berths. Clinching state spots with a win, Adams Central over Fairbury, Boone Central over St. Paul, Platteview over Ashland Greenwood, and then we still have Omaha Roncalli, Lincoln Christian, SCOTUS, Wahoo, Chadron, Minden, Syracuse, and Ogallala in contention. In C2, district champions Malcolm, Oakland Craig, and Hastings St. Cecilia are in. Wahoo Newman is a champion by beating David Say Aquinas, Norfolk Catholic by beating Harrington Cedar Catholic, Ord by beating Centura. And I know you're waiting for this result. The Mitchell versus Gordon Rushville winner is also a district champion. So again, that's pushing mountain time out there. So at-large burst clinch, Mitchell is in, undefeated Tigers out there. Norfolk Catholic, Ord, and Newman if they're not district champions. Clinching with the win, Battle Creek against Grand Island Central Catholic, Cedar Catholic over Norfolk Catholic, Fillmore Central over Wood River, and others in contention are Chase County, Wilbur Claytonia, Wood River, Fremont Bergen, defending champion, might not make it in, Utan, Valentine, Amherst, Centura, and North Bend. There's going to be a test on this at the
I was going to say, there will be a quiz later on all this.
Yes. There's 77 teams, so you'll see if you can name all of them after we're done. But with our ratings this week, Grand Island probably hasn't been mentioned before yet, I don't believe, but they knocked off Omaha North last week. Kind of sent the shocker through the ratings. Grand Island had a bad beatdown at home against Elkhorn South. Comes back, really showed North some physical football. 6 turnovers by the Vikings didn't help their cause either. 31-21 Grand Island. Grand Island moves up into 5th. I vaulted them over Bellevue West based on comparative scores with Omaha North. Westside and Creighton Prep moved up to 3 and 4. Top 2 still are our suburban schools, Gretna and Elkhorn South. In Class B, Elkhorn North gave Bennington a game I saw its closest decision of the year, 21-7. I moved Elkhorn North up to number 9. The Storm has a good test, the Wolves have a good test this week with Blair at Blair. Blair's trying to get in not only the playoffs but the rankings. See what happens there. Our other number 1s have not changed. Aurora in C1, Norfolk Catholic C2, North Platte St. Patrick's an 8-man 1, Howells Dodge an 8-man 2, and Potter Dix, the Coyotes, sitting there in 6-man. So.
Well, I saw Prep and Papio last Friday, Stu, and Prep got the last-second win, and literally last second, and the last few seconds, and if they hadn't scored, they were going to have time to run another play. So props to the Junior Jays for pulling that game out. They still seem like they have a little bit of a quandary when it comes to quarterback, because it seems like every time I see them, they have someone else playing quarterback. But
they've gone through 4, I think, this year by my count.
Well, Stessman was the last one that I had seen at quarterback, and he apparently is all defense now. So,
Okay.
But, Papio really had a chance to win that game. So, I think Prep could be dangerous in the playoffs. I think maybe the Monarchs might pull a surprise. So we'll see how that turns out.
Well, the Monarchs go to North Platte on Friday, and that's a really key game because both those teams are 4-4. And the way our playoff system works, you can move up and down in divisions as far as how many points you give your opponents on the schedule. That's how the playoff system works. You get points for every game you play, but it's based on the outcome and whether you win or lose, and also if a team is very successful or not very successful or somewhere in the middle, as happens in all our sports. But both teams at 4-4, winner moves up, loser stays in that division. So those teams that play the winner will get 3 more points to their cumulative total than the loser. So I think there's about 10 teams in Class A alone that can move up a division. Nobody can move down, which back in the old days, you'd have teams that can move up or move down based on the last week, and they've kind of simplified the point system, maybe inadvertently, but it certainly helps that at least the way it is, you can only move up a division, you can't back down.
That game's at North Platte?
At North Platte, so.
Well, people at Westside can tell us exactly how tough
yes,
that
they
game
can.
could be. So,
and it's a beautiful complex out there, so
Yeah.
one of my favorite places to go.
Should be a good game.
Well, volleyball. I know we've got Metro Final coming up on Thursday, but on Thursday, too, you find out who your district assignments are, right?
Right. We'll have to wait on those, but the semifinals of the volleyball tournament, the Metro Volleyball Tournament, is tonight, Wednesday night. Papio South will be hosting Gretna in the first semifinal, and Westside will be playing Papio in the second semifinal. And those two teams will meet in the championship match on Thursday at 7 o'clock. That will be at Papio South. So, it's been a good tournament. It's kind of gone the way I kind of expected. I just think Papio South is playing better than everybody else right now, and we'll talk about that in just a minute because we had a little bit of a shift at the top of our overall top 10 in volleyball.
Say it ain't so.
Yes, because Papio South and Lincoln Southwest, I think, are very close. Lincoln Southwest had a really nice weekend. They won the Westside Invitational.
But they dropped a match, right?
But they dropped a match, so hard to fault because that was such a tough tournament. But I saw Papio South play last week, and they had the national event. They played well in that, and they played at Gretna on Tuesday night, and Gretna's got a really good team. And at one point, the Titans, between the first and second sets, went on a 25-2 run, and that's on the road against a very good team. They're number 1 in wild card points, so I just thought, I'm going to slip Papio South just a little ahead of Lincoln Southwest right now. We'll see how the Metro tournament plays out, and the Heartland Athletic Conference tournament's also going on, so we'll keep our eye on that. But
let me interject here. How much do you think Papio South was helped by playing Cathedral Catholic from San Diego, just to see a higher level?
I think that probably helped them because they saw a very good team the night before from Idaho. And, these are teams that are nationally ranked. The team from San Diego is number 1 nationally. And Papio South lost the first set 25-23, but they pushed them, talked to the San Diego coach afterwards, and really that's one of the closest sets that they've had all season long. They haven't dropped one set. So Papio South lost the next 2 sets also, but they were competitive. But I think anytime you play the very best in the nation, and they are the consensus number 1, Cathedral Catholic out of San Diego, I think that can only help Papio South as we move forward, really down the stretch.
Any sleepers as we go into districts?
Oh, I don't know if I want to go down that road yet.
Okay. So. I'll let you sleep on it for 1 week.
Class A has been so wide open this season that, there's probably a number of teams that you could say, I think they really have a chance. I think on any given weekend, Marion has played well. Pius has played well. Westside and the teams we expected, Millard West and Gretna and teams like that have played well. Papio is probably a little better than I thought they were going to be. They had a really competitive match against Papio South earlier this season. So, yeah, I think there are some sleepers there in Class A. But let's run down quickly our overall
Certainly.
top 10. And as I mentioned, Papio South number 1, Lincoln Southwest 2, Papio 3, Elkhorn North 4, Omaha Skutt 5. Lincoln Lutheran still undefeated. They had a tough match against Norris last night and they won it. So Warriors still unbeaten. They're number 6. Westside 7, Gretna 8, Millard West 9, and Lincoln East number 10. And our number 1s throughout the classes, Papio South in A, Elkhorn North, just by the slimmest of margins over Omaha Skutt, remains number 1 in B. Grand Island Central Catholic, that was a new number 1 in C1.
Ageless Sharon Zavala and
yes.
the Crusaders.
1,100 wins and counting.
Wow.
GICC slipped ahead of North Bend. North Bend suffered their first loss.
To who?
Who did they get beat by? They got beat by somebody.
Okay, we'll move on. That'll be on your quiz.
It'll come to me eventually.
Okay.
But yeah, North Bend got beat. They were one of the last undefeated teams this season, and so they lost. So GICC slipped ahead of them. North Bend 2, Malcolm 3, Gothenburg 4, Minden 5, DC West 6. I'm going to go all the way down to C1.
Sure.
Kearney Catholic 7, Pierce 8, Columbus Lakeview 9, St. Paul 10. I know who they got beat by. They got beat by Clarkson Lee, Class
Okay.
C2. I knew it had come to me.
Okay.
So Lincoln Lutheran, as we mentioned, still number 1 in C2. And Cambridge, 1 in D1, and Shelton, number 1 in D2. They've kind of been there for a while this season. So, as I mentioned, North Bend, that was the one shift in the lower classes, but still a great team, and they're having a great season. And I think C1, as it always is one of the most competitive and toughest classes out there.
Yep, always. Well, before we wrap this one up, a shout out and kudos to our state champions in softball. Omaha Marion got the job done against Gretna. Marion wins Class A. Grand Island Northwest, the farthest west team ever to win in Class B. And UTAN Meade, the Patriots in Class C. And Lincoln East completed a perfect season in Class A tennis. Their 4 entries at state, all undefeated.
Wow.
First time that's ever happened.
That's impressive. Shout out to Grand Island Northwest AD Matt Fritchie. I'm sure he'll take a little credit for that.
Hey, he's gotten a state championship there, and he's got a brand new football field, and they're hoping for fundraising to get a field house and make Viking Field look really good. So the turf looks nice already. That'll do it for this edition of the Nebraska Prep Zone podcast. Return to us next week, and we'll be talking playoff pairings and how that first round might go, Mike.
Sounds good.
Until then.